It's official. The sports marketing world just witnessed something that has never happened before in the history of athlete endorsements. What started as a simple merchandise launch has exploded into a complete industry meltdown that's got every major brand scrambling to rewrite their playbooks. We're not talking about typical product releases anymore. We're talking about server crashes, emergency board meetings, and a financial tsunami that's reshaping how the entire sports business operates. The streets are buzzing, retail executives are in panic mode, and the competitors who thought they understood the game, they're probably having sleepless nights right about now. So here's what just went down. Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback everyone's been watching, just shattered every single merchandise record in Nike's history. 70 million in sales, 24 hours, one product launch, numbers so insane that even seasoned industry veterans are calling it impossible. But this isn't just about money. This is about a complete paradigm shift that's sending shockwaves through every corner of the sports world. And what we're uncovering behind the scenes, it's even more explosive than the numbers suggest. Let's rewind a bit. When Nike first signed Shedeur Sanders, industry insiders thought they knew what they were getting. A talented quarterback with solid potential and decent marketability. Standard athlete endorsement deal, right? Wrong. What nobody saw coming was how quickly Sanders would transform from college prospect into a cultural phenomenon that transcends sports entirely. According to multiple sources within Nike's merchandising division, initial projections were obliterated within the first hour. Not gradually over weeks or months, we're talking complete inventory evaporation in 60 minutes. Nike.com reportedly experienced an 847% traffic surge the moment the launch went live. Payment processing systems strained under the weight of simultaneous transactions from around the globe. Customer service departments were overwhelmed managing disappointment from millions unable to secure products. Sources claim digital infrastructure teams worked frantically preventing complete platform collapse while inventory disappeared faster than systems could update availability status. One insider described it as digital pandemonium unlike anything we've ever experienced. But here's where it gets even wilder. The demographic buying these products wasn't just traditional football fans. Fashion influencers were securing pieces. Musicians were posting acquisitions on social media. International customers were using reshipping services to circumvent geographic restrictions. The Sanders logo suddenly became something beyond athletic apparel. It became a cultural statement. Multiple retail locations nationwide reported scenes that looked more like console launches than clothing releases. Customers arriving hours before opening, forming lines extending multiple city blocks. Security personnel had to be called in to manage crowds. Store managers implemented lottery systems and purchase limitations just to prevent chaos. One insider described certain locations exhausting their entire shipments within 90 minutes, despite restricting customers to single items. That's not normal retail behavior, that's cultural phenomenon territory. And the stories coming out of these locations, they're absolutely wild. In Los Angeles, police had to be called to manage a crowd of over 2,000 people trying to get into a single Nike store. In New York, scalpers were already selling the shirts for triple the retail price before stores even opened. In Chicago, one location had to shut down completely after their security system was overwhelmed by the sheer volume of people trying to enter. Then came the nuclear moment that really exposed how massive this had become. Competitor panic. Sources within Adidas, Under Armour, and New Balance describe emergency strategy sessions being called at 2 a.m. Marketing departments working overtime to dissect Nike's execution. Talent acquisition teams frantically identifying comparable prospects. Financial analysts calculating potential market share implications. One senior executive reportedly stated during an internal meeting, Nike just changed the entire playbook. We're all playing catch-up now. That's not typical competitive concern. That's existential crisis language. And according to people familiar with these emergency meetings, some executives were literally pulling all-nighters trying to figure out how to respond. But that's not even the most shocking part. According to people familiar with Nike's internal dynamics, even they underestimated the demand. Conservative estimates had placed total Sanders investment at over 9 figures when combining endorsement guarantees, marketing budgets, and product development costs. Yesterday's results allegedly justified every single dollar and then some. Sources say Nike executives privately acknowledge they completely miscalculated the market appetite. One insider claimed that even their most optimistic projections were exceeded by over 400%. That's not a slight miscalculation. That's a complete underestimation of cultural impact. The digital metrics paint an extraordinary picture that goes far beyond simple sales numbers. The hashtag #Shedeur Effect generated 3.7 million impressions within 6 hours. TikTok videos featuring the merchandise accumulated 47 million views collectively. Instagram posts showcasing acquisitions averaged 300% higher engagement than typical Nike launch content. Twitter conversations dominated trending topics across multiple countries. YouTube unboxing videos were already accumulating millions of views within hours of the launch. Influencers who had never talked about sports were suddenly posting content about Sanders merchandise. Fashion bloggers were analyzing the design elements. Even international media outlets were covering the phenomenon as a cultural story, rather than just a sports story. This organic social amplification exceeded their paid marketing campaign reach exponentially. We're talking about authentic cultural momentum that money literally cannot buy. And the velocity of this social spread, industry experts are calling it unprecedented. Here's where the story takes an even more dramatic turn. International response has been absolutely unprecedented. Nike's European divisions report demand from markets typically lukewarm toward American football. Asian territories experiencing similar phenomenon. Middle Eastern retailers requesting emergency shipments. South American distributors claiming fastest sellout rates ever recorded for NFL merchandise. This geographic diversity suggests Sanders has transcended sports-specific appeal toward global cultural icon status. That doesn't happen by accident. That's the kind of crossover success that creates generational wealth and reshapes entire industries. And according to international retail sources, some regions saw demand that exceeded their entire annual football merchandise sales in a single day. But the implications go far deeper than impressive sales figures. Supply chain sources claim Nike has committed additional production facilities exclusively toward Sanders merchandise, an unprecedented allocation for an individual athlete. Manufacturing facilities are operating at maximum capacity, attempting to satisfy demand. Logistics networks are strained managing distribution requirements across continents. These operational adjustments represent massive financial commitments based on a single day's performance. That's either incredible confidence or incredible desperation from Nike's leadership. Sources familiar with Nike's manufacturing operations say they've never seen the company pivot resources this quickly for any individual athlete, including Michael Jordan during his peak years. And here's what's truly wild about this situation: the sustainability factor. Traditional merchandise launches follow predictable patterns: initial surge, gradual decline, occasional spikes around performance highlights. The Sanders launch has defied every established model with sustained intensity, expanding demographics, and geographic proliferation. Several retail analysts are comparing the phenomenon to entertainment industry launches rather than sports merchandising. One prominent consultant stated, "This resembles a Marvel movie premiere more than a jersey launch. It's entertainment, fashion, sports, and culture simultaneously." That comparison matters because it suggests we're witnessing something fundamentally different from traditional athlete endorsements. This isn't just about football performance or team loyalty. This is about cultural influence that operates independently of on-field success. The competitive ramifications are already reshaping the entire industry landscape. Rival brands are desperately seeking comparable talents. University programs are recognizing marketability's importance in recruiting. High school athletes are understanding commercial potential alongside athletic development. The entire ecosystem is evolving in response to the paradigm Sanders has established. Sources within competing brands describe a talent acquisition arms race that's driving up endorsement values across the board. Young athletes who previously might have received modest deals are suddenly commanding premium contracts as brands scramble to find the next Shedeur Sanders. Financial analysts calculate broader implications extending far beyond direct sales. Nike stock price responding positively with a 3.2% jump in after-hours trading. Competitor valuations facing pressure as investors question their ability to compete. Retail partners benefiting from massive traffic increases that boosted sales across all categories. Secondary markets exploding with resale premiums reaching 500% above retail price. Conservative estimates suggest total economic activity exceeding $250 million from this single launch when factoring in secondary sales, increased foot traffic, and ancillary purchases. That's not just a product launch, that's an economic event. But here's where things get really interesting from a business perspective. Sources within Nike's executive leadership suggest this validates their aggressive strategy of pursuing Sanders despite astronomical financial commitments. The return on investment calculations are reportedly showing historical profitability levels that justify every risk they took. Internal projections, according to sources, now suggest the Sanders economy could exceed billion-dollar threshold within the initial contract term. That would place him in rarefied air alongside only Michael Jordan and a handful of other transcendent athletes who've achieved that level of commercial success. Meanwhile, Sanders himself remains remarkably composed amid the commercial chaos. His social media presence maintains authenticity despite exponential attention increases. Public appearances balance promotional obligations with personal expression. Media interactions demonstrate sophistication in handling both commercial and athletic questioning simultaneously. This maturity in managing unprecedented success impresses industry veterans who are accustomed to rookie struggles with sudden wealth and fame. It suggests Sanders possesses the psychological tools necessary for sustained success at this level. One sports psychologist who works with elite athletes describes Sanders' handling of the situation as textbook perfect. The technological infrastructure challenges reveal just how unprepared the industry was for this level of demand. Despite Nike's massive digital capabilities, systems were strained to breaking points. Mobile optimization enabled global accessibility, but payment processing struggled with international transactions. Inventory management systems prevented complete disasters through transparent communication, but barely. These technical elements, often overlooked in success stories, proved absolutely essential for preventing complete platform collapse, while inventory disappeared faster than systems could update availability status. Sources within Nike's IT department describe working 18-hour shifts to keep systems operational during the peak demand period. What makes this phenomenon particularly fascinating is the social dynamics at play. Generational divides are evident through purchasing patterns. Younger consumers dominated digital channels while middle-aged customers were prevalent in physical retail. International buyers skewed younger overall, and gender distribution was surprisingly balanced, contradicting traditional sports merchandise assumptions. These demographic insights are already informing future strategies across the entire industry because they suggest Sanders' appeal operates differently from conventional athlete marketing. Traditional sports merchandise skews heavily male and domestic. Sanders' merchandise showed almost 50-50 gender split and significant international demand. The Sanders phenomenon extends beyond individual success toward systemic transformation of how athlete endorsements function. Traditional rookie development timelines are now obsolete. Marketing strategies require complete reconceptualization. Talent evaluation must incorporate commercial viability alongside athletic potential. Contract negotiations must reflect multimedia possibilities rather than just sports performance. Looking ahead, sustainability questions persist that will determine whether this represents a temporary spike or permanent shift. Can momentum maintain throughout the season? Will on-field performance impact commercial appeal? How does Nike manage inventory without market oversaturation? What competitive responses emerge from desperate rivals? These unknowns create suspense around the ongoing narrative. But one thing is certain, the sports marketing landscape has been permanently transformed. Nike and Shedeur Sanders just proved that betting on authentic talent, cultural relevance, and aggressive innovation delivers extraordinary returns that reshape entire industries. The $70 million launch represents an inflection point from which there's no return. Professional sports commercialization has entered a new era, and Shedeur Sanders stands at the absolute center of this revolution. The reverberations will continue expanding for years to come, and every brand, every athlete, and every fan will feel the impact of what just happened.